part 2 of chapter 2, section 5, I believe it is, interest. And we're picking up where we left off, only now we have a cat screaming at us. Now they're changing the problem that says Magdalena opens a saving account, but only for 6 months. She puts in $580, that's going to be her principal, and her account earns 3.5% each year. What is the simple interest formula? Well, remember that's interest is equal to principal times rate times time. Now maybe if I hold the demon, she won't scream as much. Because the period of time is compounded annually, and she's only doing 6 months, we can see that 6 months is equal to 6/12 of a year, otherwise known as 0.5 years. Also, what is 3.5% written as a decimal? Well, all you have to do is bounce that decimal 2 spaces to the left, and whoops, I got to put my 0 in front. 0.035 is the proper way of writing it. Check the answer, and that's good. So now for time is going to be 0.5, and the decimal value for the rate is going to be 0.035. So now we're going to plug in our values. The principal was going to be $580. The rate is 0.035, and the time is going to be 0.5. And when you multiply those numbers out, what do you get? You get $10.15. So she would earn $10.15 interest in 6 months times, also known as 0.5 years. Everything checks. Beautiful. I love it when a plan comes together. How is this process of finding simple interest different when time is given in months? Well, you're not multiplying by whole years anymore. You've got to find out what portion of the year you're working with and compare that to 12. So if they have 4 months, that's going to be 4 out of 12. Pretty simple. So now it's going to be your turn. You pause the recording and solve this problem where Marcus deposited $760 into a savings account that pays 4% simple interest, but he only had it in there for 9 months. Pause the video and work on that. The screaming demon seems to be feeling better now that I held her for a few minutes, so let's solve the problem. Our principal is $760. Our rate, 4%, that's going to be 0.04. 0.0, whoops, missed that, 0.04. And then our time, 9 months. Well, 9 over 12, if you divide that out, you would get 0.75. It's 3/4 of the year, so we can work that as 0.75. Grab our pocket Satan, 760 times 0.04 times 0.75, and we find that the interest is going to equal to $22.80. That is showing your work. That is what I must see. If I see anything else, you will of course have done it just for fun. $22.80, is that what we got? Yep, check our answer. Everything checks. Now we're going to step up our game a little bit. Rondell's parents are starting a real estate business. They borrow $99,400 from the bank to finance their startup operations. Simple interest rate is 4.75% per year, and they plan to take 15 years to pay off the loan. How much simple interest will they pay? Now think about this. How are we going to begin to solve this problem? Well, I think we need to start off by saying, you know what, 4.75%, what's that going to be as a decimal? That's 4.75%. So let's keep moving here. Now the time period is calculated annually, also known as yearly. So what's the time going to be? Well, that was 15 years. That one was pretty easy. And the interest rate written as a decimal, well, 4.34% is going to be 4.75% is going to be 4.75%. But 4.75% written as a decimal is 0.475. Check it, both of those check. Now, let me show you where that came from because I don't want to confuse you too much on that. 4 3/4 is the same thing as 4.75. Now, both of those were percents. To change a percent to a decimal, all you have to do is bounce your decimal 2 spaces to the left. So that's where the 0.0475 came from. And as I'm sure you can hear, the screaming demon is no longer satisfied. Now, let's find out how much interest they're going to pay. The principal was at $99,400. The rate, that was a 0.475, and the time is 15 years. And when you multiply all those things together, that's going to be $70,822.50. They pay almost as much as they borrowed in interest for borrowing that money. Okay, and 4.75%, that's really not a bad interest rate. It's really not terrible. So you might want to keep in mind, when you borrow money, you're paying an awful lot of money for the privilege of using that. So they will pay how much interest? $70,822.50 interest on the loan, and the answer checks. That's a brutal chunk of money. Once again, it is your turn. Pause the recording, work this problem, and enjoy the last easy problem before we get to the apply problem. So Miss Hanover borrowed $1,413. That's going to be a principal at a rate, that's going to be our rate, of 4.5% per year, and the time is going to be 9 months. Well, let's break these down into decimal values. That is going to be 5.5%, which is also going to be 0.055 written as a decimal. 9 months, that's going to be 9 out of 12, which of course we already discussed is going to be 0.75. And now we have what we need to work our problems. What are we putting in for principal? $1,413. Our rate, 0.055, and our time, 0.75. When we take and multiply those numbers out, we're going to get 1413 times 0.055 times 0.75, and we multiply that, rounded to the nearest cent, $58.29. $58.29 should be the amount of interest paid here. So let's plug that in, 58.29. Check our answer. The answer checks. We did good, and now you know what time it is. It is time for the apply. Alright, I put the screaming demon outside, so she'll be less of a distraction. Alex is buying a car that costs $18,000. The tax rate is 7%, and he plans on making a down payment of $2,000. Sales tax is added to the price of the car before the down payment is made. He's considering a 5-year loan with a simple interest rate of 6.2% each year. What will his monthly payment be? Holy cow, this is a huge, colossal problem. And you know what? I'm not even going to ask you to work this on your own. We're going to work this together because, boys and girls, this one is brutal. So let's dive into this. Now, no, guys, I would never give you a problem this hard on a test, okay? This is just downright cruel as mathematical problems go in middle school. So let's start off, and first we're going to find out what the final selling price of the car is going to be. So at that, we're going to take the tax over 1800, excuse me, 18,000 is equal to 7% over 100. Okay, so 7 over 100. We can rearrange that to say tax over 18,000 is equal to 0. No, let's do it differently. I think with these numbers we got something better to work with here. So I'm instead going to say, well, 100 times what number is going to equal to 18,000, and the answer of that is going to be 180, because 100 times 18 is 1800. 100 times 180 therefore will be 18,000. If I do it on the bottom, I have to do it on the top. 7 times 180 is going to be our first shot. That's going to be 700 plus 560, which is going to end up giving me 7 plus 5, $1,260. If I did it right in my head, let me check it. Alright, that did check good. So now I know that the tax is going to be $1,260. I'm going to circle that. I'm going to box off this portion of my work because we're going to have a lot of work here and we want to keep it all neat and organized. Next thing we need to do is find out, okay, what's the actual selling price of the car going to be? So we have the $18,000 of the car plus the $1,260 of the tax. Of course, we need our dollar signs here. And when we add that up, that means we're going to have $19,260. That is the amount that's going to be financed. And we're going to take and add a new box section to keep our work neat and organized. Next, we have to find out how much is going to be financed. So we're going to take that $19,260 and we're going to subtract the $2,000 down payment, and you can see that right here, a $2,000 down payment, and that means we're actually financing $17,260 on the car. That's the amount that's going to get plugged into our simple interest formula, and we're going to take and box off that work, keeping it all neat and organized. Now I'm going to come up here to the top. Let's go ahead and get a new color pen. For our interest is equal to principal times rate times time, where the principal we just discovered is going to be $17,260. The rate is going to be, oh no, that's sales tax. We don't have that. That's not it. The interest rate is going to be right here at 6.2%. 6.2% is the same thing as saying 0.062. So we have 0.062, and the time is going to be a 5-year loan. So times 5. Grab our calculator, multiply that data out, 17260 times 0.062 times 5, and we're going to find that the interest is $5,350.60. So now we're going to take and use that information, which of course we need to circle, and we also need to box off our work to keep everything neat and organized. So we're going to take that information we have and we're going to add this amount to that amount to find out the total amount of money he's going to be spending. 1,000, or he's going to be financing 17,260 plus 5,350.6, and that's in our decimals and zeros. Add that up, 06011. That's going to become a 6. This will become a 12, and that's become a 2. So the actual amount financed is going to be $22,610.60. That's how much money he's going to have to end up paying back to the bank. And that doesn't even count the $2,000 he put in for his down payment. But we're not done yet. The question is, how much will the monthly payments be? Well, first we got to figure out how many months there are. There's 5 years, there's 12 months in a year, which means there are going to be 60 months that he's making payments. How much is he going to pay each month? Well, we've got to take that $22,610.60 and divide it by the, not 12 months, divide it by the 60 months. And when we do that, we get 22610.6 divided by 60, and we're going to find the monthly payment rounded to the nearest cent is going to be $376.84. $376.84. Now let's see if all that work paid off, and we're correct. So I plug my $376.84 into my answer checker, and we are going to, yes, all of that work, and we got the right answer. by doing it neat and organizing and eating that elephant one bite at a time. Don't get overwhelmed by the size of a problem. Take and look for the pieces parts, figure out how you're going to work it, and take it out one bite at a time. Y'all get started on your homework. Have a good night.